somewhere around 2.5 million years ago, an ancestor of yours picked up a sharp rock, knelt down next to a dead animal, and did something no primate before them had really done. Cut it open on purpose. That single decision, repeated, refined, and passed down for millions of years, may have helped build the brain you're using to watch this video right now. So today we're asking two questions that turn out to be deeply connected. Why did humans start eating meat in the first place? And could we actually have survived without it? Let's start with the evidence, because there's real physical proof buried in the ground. At sites called Gona and Buri in Ethiopia, archaeologists have found animal bones bearing unmistakable cut marks, dated to roughly 2.5 to 2.6 million years ago, right alongside some of the very earliest known stone tools, a toolkit archaeologists call the Oldowan. This is about as solid as prehistoric evidence gets. Sharp-edged stone, animal bone, and a deliberate slice between them. There's also a more provocative, far more debated claim. A 2010 paper describing possible cut marks on bones from Dakika, Ethiopia, dated to a staggering 3.4 million years ago, which would push tool-assisted meat consumption back even earlier into the era of Lucy's species. Other researchers have pushed back hard on that interpretation, arguing the marks could just as easily be crocodile bites or trampling damage. So treat that one as a genuine, unresolved scientific argument, not a settled fact. Either way, by around 2.5 million years ago, meat was clearly on the menu. The obvious next question is, why did that matter? One influential idea is called the expensive tissue hypothesis, proposed by researchers Leslie Aiello and Peter Wheeler in 1995. Both your brain and your gut are metabolically expensive organs. They burn a lot of energy just existing. Aiello and Wheeler proposed that a richer, more calorie-dense diet, including meat, allowed early Homo to evolve a smaller digestive tract, since less fibrous plant bulk needed processing. That freed-up energy budget in their model could then be redirected toward fueling a larger brain. It's a genuinely influential idea in paleoanthropology, and it's also still actively debated with mixed results across different follow-up studies. Treat it as one serious, well-regarded hypothesis among several, not a proven mechanism. How did they actually get that meat in the first place? For a long time, the assumption was heroic hunting. But researcher Robert Blumenschein's detailed analysis of ancient butchered bones, comparing hominin cut marks against carnivore tooth marks on the exact same bones, suggests a messier, less glamorous picture. Early scavenging, not sustained hunting, likely came first. Our ancestors were apparently walking up to carcasses that lions and hyenas had already fed on, then using stone tools to crack open bones for marrow other predators couldn't reach. Active hunting almost certainly became more prominent over time, but the scavenging first picture remains one influential, still debated model rather than settled consensus. Then there's fire and cooking. Primatologist Richard Wrangham has argued in his well-known cooking hypothesis that cooking food, meat included, dramatically increases how many usable calories your body can actually extract from it, and that this was a major driver behind the evolution of Homo erectus roughly 2 million years ago. It's a compelling, nutritionally well-supported idea. The problem is the archaeological timeline doesn't quite cooperate. The oldest widely accepted secure evidence of controlled fire at Wonderwork Cave in South Africa dates to only around 1 million years ago, with truly habitual everyday fire use not solidly documented until roughly 400,000 years ago. That leaves a real gap between when Wrangham's hypothesis needs cooking to have started and when we can actually prove humans were doing it. So, nutritionally sound, evolutionarily still an open question. What isn't remotely in dispute is what happened later. Multiple isotope studies of Neanderthal bones, examining the chemical signatures left behind by whatever they actually ate, consistently show nitrogen levels as high as top predators like wolves and hyenas. Neanderthals, by this point, were eating meat at a level comparable to dedicated carnivores. That part of the story is about as well established as prehistoric dietary science gets, So meat clearly shaped a real stretch of human evolution. Which brings us to the second half of tonight's question. Could we have survived without it? Here's where the evidence gets genuinely more balanced than either side of the modern debate usually admits. A classic 1968 study by anthropologist Richard Lee, examining the diet of the Sash Kung-san people of the Kalahari, found that gathered plant foods, especially a single calorie-dense staple, the mongongo nut, made up the clear majority of their calories, with meat contributing a real but smaller share. That single study reshaped how anthropologists thought about man the hunter, showing that gathering, often done by women, could outproduce hunting in raw calories. But don't take that as the universal human pattern either. A landmark 2000 study by researcher Lauren Cordain and colleagues analyzing data from 229 hunter-gatherer societies worldwide found enormous variation depending purely on latitude and environment. Near the equator, plant foods made up a substantial share of the diet. Far north, in Arctic populations with almost no edible plants for most of the year, some groups derived the overwhelming majority of their calories from animal foods, occasionally over 90%. There was no single ancestral human diet. There were dozens, shaped entirely by whatever local environment people happened to live in. There is one more piece worth being honest about, though, purely as biology, not as an argument either way. Certain nutrients were genuinely harder to reliably obtain without animal foods in ancestral environments. Vitamin B12 isn't made by plants or animals at all, only by certain bacteria. And animal products happen to be a concentrated, reliable source of it. Heme iron from meat absorbs into your body more efficiently than the iron in plants. None of that means humans today biologically require meat. Modern fortification and supplementation have genuinely closed most of those historical gaps for anyone who chooses to avoid animal foods. It simply means that thousands of years ago, without a supplement aisle to fall back on, getting those specific nutrients reliably from plants alone would have been a considerably harder problem to solve in most environments. So, where does that leave us? Meat eating appears to have coincided with, and possibly helped enable, some of the biggest changes in our evolutionary story. Bigger brains, smaller guts, new tools, new social behaviors around sharing a kill. But coincided with and was strictly required for are two very different claims. And honestly, the fossil record doesn't fully settle which one is true. So here's the genuinely open question worth arguing about in the comments. Did our species need meat to become what we are today? Or did we simply take whatever calories were locally available and evolution would have found some other clever way through regardless? Tell me what you think.